The year is 1921. West Virginia trembles, not from an earthquake, but from the footsteps of 10,000 armed coal miners. They march towards Mingo County, a place where coal dust mingles with the sweat of exploited workers. These men, hardened by years of toil and injustice, are ready to fight. They are marching for their rights, their families, and their very lives. The air crackles with anticipation. This is no ordinary labor dispute. It's a powder keg about to explode. This is the Battle of Blair Mountain, a bloody chapter in American labor history. The Coalfields of Appalachia, a region known for its rugged beauty, became a battleground for workers' rights. The miners, treated as disposable cogs in the machinery of industry, dared to challenge the powerful coal companies. They yearned for a life of dignity and fairness, a life free from the suffocating grip of exploitation. Their struggle resonated far beyond the hollows of West Virginia, echoing the hopes and frustrations of working people across the nation. To understand the Battle of Blair Mountain, we must first journey into the coal camps that dotted the Appalachian landscape. These camps, isolated and tightly controlled by the coal companies, were worlds unto themselves. Miners and their families lived in cramped, dilapidated houses, often lacking basic necessities like running water and electricity. Their lives were ruled by the company store, a system of debt peonage that kept them economically enslaved. The work itself was grueling and perilous. Miners toiled long hours in the dark, dangerous depths of the earth, their lungs choked with coal dust, their bodies constantly at risk. Accidents were commonplace, and many men lost their lives or limbs in the pursuit of the black gold that fueled the nation's industries. The coal companies, driven by greed and indifference, showed little regard for the safety and well-being of their workers. Despite the hardships, a spirit of defiance smoldered within the hearts of the miners. They formed secret unions, whispering their hopes for a better future in hushed tones. One such union, the United Mine Workers of America, UMWA, became a powerful force for change. Organizers, risking their lives, traveled from camp to camp, spreading the gospel of solidarity and collective bargaining. The coal companies, determined to crush any challenge to their authority, responded with brutal repression. They hired private detectives to spy on workers, blacklisted union sympathizers, and used violence to intimidate those who dared to speak out. The miners, however, refused to be silenced. They knew that their strength lay in unity, and they were willing to fight for their right to a better life. The tension, simmering for years, finally boiled over in the summer of 1921. A group of Baldwin Felts detectives, notorious for their brutality, arrived in Matewan, a small town in Mingo County, to evict miners and their families from company-owned housing. The miners, fed up with years of abuse, met the detectives with armed resistance. A gunfight erupted, leaving several dead on both sides, including the mayor of Matewan, a staunch supporter of the miners. The Matewan Massacre, as it came to be known, ignited a firestorm of anger and defiance across the coalfields. Miners, armed and ready to fight for their rights, flocked to the UMWA banner. They saw the battle in Matewan as a turning point, a chance to finally break free from the shackles of oppression. The stage was set for a confrontation of epic proportions. Bill Blizzard, a fiery Umbiwa organizer, emerged as a leader of the burgeoning rebellion. With a voice that boomed like thunder and a spirit that refused to be broken, Blizzard rallied the miners to action. He understood the risks involved, but he also knew that the time for talk was over. The miners, inspired by Blizzard's leadership and fueled by years of pent-up anger, were ready to fight for their freedom. As the miners prepared for a showdown with the coal companies, they faced a formidable enemy. The companies, backed by the full force of the state government, were determined to crush the rebellion. They hired hundreds of private detectives, armed them with machine guns and even airplanes, and deputized local law enforcement to their cause. The lines were drawn, and the battle for the soul of West Virginia was about to begin. Word spread like wildfire through the hills and hollows. The miners were marching on Mingo County. From the surrounding counties they came. Men, hardened by years of toil, grabbed their rifles and joined the growing ranks. A river of blue denim overalls, the unofficial uniform of the working class, flowed towards the coal fields. They were determined to break the back of the coal companies and win recognition for their union. The miners' march was more than just a military campaign. It was a moving testament to the power of solidarity. Women and children, the backbone of the mining communities, played a vital role, providing food, medical aid, and unwavering support to the men on the front lines. The march became a symbol of resistance, a beacon of hope for oppressed people everywhere. As the miners advanced, they faced fierce opposition. The coal companies, fearing for their profits and their power, unleashed a wave of violence and intimidation. They hired airplanes to drop bombs and gas on the marching miners, a tactic that shocked the nation and drew condemnation from many quarters. The miners, however, refused to be deterred. They pressed on, their resolve strengthened by each act of aggression. The governor of West Virginia, in league with the coal barons, declared martial law and dispatched state police and National Guard units to stop the miners. The stage was set for a bloody confrontation. On one side stood the miners, a ragtag army of working men armed with their convictions and whatever weapons they could muster. On the other side stood the forces of the state, equipped with superior firepower and determined to crush the rebellion at any cost. The fate of the miners' movement and perhaps the future of labor relations in America hung in the balance. The two forces, a sea of blue denim against a tide of khaki uniforms, finally clashed at Blair Mountain. The miners, taking up positions on the high ground, fought with a ferocity born of desperation and righteous anger. They were outgunned but not outmatched, their knowledge of the terrain giving them a crucial advantage. The battle raged for days, the air thick with the smell of gunpowder and the deafening roar of gunfire. One particularly harrowing story emerged from the chaos. A young miner named Sid Hatfield, known for his bravery and marksmanship, found himself pinned down by enemy fire. With bullets whizzing past him, Hatfield took aim and fired, his shot finding its mark. The enemy machine gun fell silent, allowing Hatfield's comrades to advance. Hatfield's story, passed down through generations of miners, became a symbol of courage and resilience. Women played a crucial role in the battle, risking their lives to supply the miners with food, ammunition, and medical supplies. They braved enemy fire and treacherous mountain paths, their courage and determination an inspiration to the men fighting on the front lines. One woman, known as Mother Jones, a legendary labor organizer, rallied the miners' spirits with her fiery speeches and unwavering belief in their cause. Despite their valiant efforts, the miners faced overwhelming odds. The tide of the battle turned when the federal government intervened, sending in troops and airplanes to quell the uprising. Faced with the might of the U.S. Army, the miners had no choice but to surrender. The Battle of Blair Mountain was over, but its legacy will continue to resonate for generations to come.